want a Chippy Tea. Chippy Tea, Chippy Tea. I want a Chippy Tea. Oh, you keep giving me posh nosh, you don't agree with me. I don't want lobster thermidor with raspberry Kool-Aid. It's Friday night, I'm within me rights. I want a Chippy Tea.
Hey, welcome to Chippy Tea. Don't need to kick us off, let's do this shit.
I thought you were going to do it then. I thought at the start of a new era, I thought you were going to do it.
I'm not playing that game. I've only balls it up, you know me.
Right, okay, here we go, let's go. Welcome to Chippy Tea, the Chippy Tea podcast. What is it? What's it all about? What's going on with it? It is your chance to catch up on a video call that happens regularly between me, Tony P, and
Danny D, Flip Sweet Pinko.
As we catch up over video from wherever we are in the world to try and discuss what's gone on this week, what's been appertaining, what have we done, what have we caught up with, what have we messed up, what have we got right, because it's good to talk, isn't it? So,
you're looking for now Vodafone.
I think that was BT originally.
It might have been, I don't know.
Busby.
It was a bit too old, that slogan for me. Like a 90s slogan, isn't it?
90s is not. I've been working this week with two guys, right? And I asked them when they were born. And one were born in 98, which makes them the same age as my eldest child. And the other were born in 2000. And these are guys. These are two guys. I'm like...
Two blokes?
I'm like, oh, shit. I'm fucking old.
That made me feel old.
No, yeah, 98 and 2000.
How about in the 80s? So chuff me. Christ.
I thought 90s were about 20 years ago. Turns out it's in 35.
Jack, isn't it? Well, it pass when you're having fun.
So, what we will do is, in true Chippy Tea tradition, because we love that. We'll even drag it out a little bit longer because it is now looking desperately for something that he should have brought with him as a show and tell, but he didn't do. that yellow shirt. Have you still got one of them yellow shirts knocking about?
No, bleeding, I've got a test print. You want to see my test print?
Of course we do. We want to see, Danny, what have you been doing this week? Or at least last 10 days.
We just go grab a rag. I don't know about the edges. No, it's not terrible. The edge was slightly off, but you won't see it on camera, so we'll just pretend.
The trick to that is keep the shirt moving a little bit.
You like this one?
Yeah, that might be a bit exaggerated, but yeah.
Right.
Big print area.
All right, isn't it?
Nice.
Not too bad, actually.
Area. Who did the artwork for it? Is that a grey or are that tones?
Grey. So solid grey. So the original artwork, he actually had like so this area, these were actually like a darker shade of blue, a darker shade of grey.
All right.
And he wanted to get it within a budget.
Yeah.
So I said, look, why don't we half-tone these shadows and in a comic book style, because it's kind of a comic book type of print.
It's a cartoon print, yeah. So what's that, a line count? Is that something like a 20 or something?
Oh, God, don't ask me about.
Is it just an half-tone that John's put on?
No, I did it in Photoshop. It's just an exaggerated, over-the-top half-tone pattern that I made. I couldn't tell you LPI because I just made it. It's just dots. It's just a repeated pattern.
All right, okay.
But it looks cool, doesn't it?
It looks awesome.
Earth positive shirts. Earth positives.
What are they? Earth positive?
Continental clothing. Oh, I can't get it to... There we go.
All right, okay.
Always good. Always an extra selling point.
What's your best shirt? Absolute best shirt. Hands down, no budget, best shirt. Give me your best black shirt.
Probably Stanley Stella. IMO.
Do you know why I pulled a face?
Because it's hard to get.
No.
It's really, really, really expensive.
My work shirts are Stanley Stella.
You're not
I had them printed by some cowboy down on East Coast somewhere.
No, they're not. Maybe it's colour out there. Oh, no, they are Stanley Stella. You got the Stanley, didn't you?
Yeah. The Stanley, because I thought they were best. And I've got to say that over 6 months, has it been? Maybe more?
Not fantastic. A little bit worn.
Yeah, I don't think they wear very well. Bear in mind, these are
Wow,
work shirts,
interesting.
and so I am wearing them. I'm wearing them to death.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have got ink on them, so I'm due to get some more.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, if I had the chance, if I'm going to order them again, I don't think I really. Hey up, Stephen. I don't think I really want Stanley Stella. So
Oh,
that's why I asked
interesting.
you what would be. I'm seeing a hell of a lot of AS colour.
Well, if you to ask me, I I recommend Stanley. I recommend AS Colour more often than not. That's my favourite garment to print on. But factored into that decision is the price point. I feel like you get a price point somewhere in the middle. You've got your cheap shirts, you've got your Stanley Stella at the top end. I mean, you can get more expensive, but typically Stanley Stella are the most expensive of the bunch. And AS Colour sits somewhere in the middle. Now, I would say the quality-wise of AS Colour is very close to the Stanley Stella shirts, if not better in some garments. And also a little bit preference as well. Stanley Stella AS Colour seems to be more of a oversized, not quite oversized, but a looser streetwear style fit, which some people might like as a preference. I know if I wear Stanley Stella, I have to size it up a couple to feel comfy. Whereas AS Colour, I can just get like a size that I would typically wear, and it fits perfect. But I won't hold that against Stanley Stella. It's just how I think they make a slightly slimmer fit, maybe.
All right,
But I recommend more often than not AS Colour. That's my go-to.
Yeah, when I were up in Canada, that were AS Colour were all they did.
Yeah, AS Colour.
That were all they did.
Yeah.
And he was so pleased with it, and they were actually nice shirts that were going through. But the true test of a shirt, I think, is when, especially if it's a work shirt, it's when you've worn it a few times and washed it a few times and abused it, and then what does it look like?
Well, I've wrecked plenty of AS Colour shirts, but I really abuse it. I mean, I might even run them through dryer over and over just because I've got ink on it and think, right, well, I better dry that. Yeah. Top off, through dryer, chuck it back on. So and also my mum washes my shirts. So if anybody wants any product testing, if any garment manufacturers want a really product test, just send me a couple. And if they stand my mum's washing, if they don't come out pink or with a billion holes in them, that's a good quality shirt, is that?
It withstands Danny's mum.
That's when you've cracked it. But don't forget, for Stanley Stella's shirt that you are wearing and the AS Colour, let's say the staple, they're a certain weight. They're not heavy. They're sort of middle at road.
Yeah.
The borderline light, aren't they? Quite light.
Yeah.
You can get lighter, cheaper and lighter, but they're sort of middle at range. I think about 160-ish or something, 160 GSM.
160.
AS Colour do it. I think it's about 150, 160, something like that.
So we used to have with jerseys back in the day with a sort of like the high standard, and they had a gold label, and the jersey's gold label was such a fantastic shirt. I think it were 220 gram.
Right. I'm going to check.
And 180 gram was a heavyweight, just a normal heavyweight, and 220 was the jersey's gold label.
I think when you start get to 180, they typically start to say it's an heavyweight shirt. AS Colour, I would say my favourite shirt at the minute, which is the shirt that I wear a lot now, I started to make my own, is the AS Colour Heavy. And that is 280 GSM. That is a bad boy.
That's what I'd bet. That's what I'd get. I'd want a heavyweight shirt.
Yeah, so this is what I'm going to say, because you're getting sort of like 9 times out of 10, most people prefer the style of shirt that you've had. Bands, illustrators, events, they want that sort of weight, something like that. So it's just a basic run-at-mill shirt.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm steering now towards the heavier shirt. I like the big, heavier boxy shirts because one, they'll last forever.
Yeah.
I'm buff as fuck, so I need a bigger shirt, you know what I mean? Very
I'm going to
modest,
say
you
it,
know.
but you met me to
Quite
it.
modest.
Yeah.
But they're mega, them shirts. I don't think I've seen a shirt as heavy either. I know, like Continental and Stanley Stella, I don't think their heavy shirt comes anywhere near to weight to.
No?
Not at all. Might be wrong, but so yeah. So if you don't want new work shirts, let
That's
me
what it's
send you
gonna
one
be.
heavy. I'll send you one before
Yeah.
and like try it on
That'll do.
and see what you
Yeah.
want. I'll put one of these on for you.
Yeah, all right.
A nice
One of your
tactile.
3D things,
Yeah, nice
like a
batch.
silicon thing.
We've got 100 at Fuckers to shift, so
Yeah, absolutely.
might as well chuck one on. So, Turney lad, that would be show and tell. Have I got what else to show you and tell you?
What have you been doing this week? That it?
It's on a Monday, isn't it?
Last
pretend
week.
it's last week. Do you know what? I actually sort of did a bit of shuffling about schedule-wise. It was getting a little bit on top of me, or falling behind slightly. And I needed subconsciously, well, consciously, I needed to see some boxes ticked. I needed to see some orders crossed out. So I shuffled a shit ton of single colour work.
Low-hanging fruit. You went for the low-hanging fruit.
Let's just shift a few easy jobs, get them out of the way. So last week and this week, I'm basically doing it in the order of just get jobs. So we'll record this today. After this, I should get 3 or 4 jobs out at door. When it's multicolour work, be lucky to get 1 a day out.
Yeah.
So
That would drive me insane, I'm afraid. Yeah. Knowing that a job's going to take all day. I'm like you. I like boxes ticked. I like stuff moving out of the door.
yeah,
Let's get it shifted. Let's get it moved.
I did plan today. Today was going to be a screen washing day, so tea time. After I finished my printing about 5 or 6ish, I've actually got me sent a bit of help. My bird's brother. He were gonna come down on his motorbike, and he were gonna spend evening with me washing screens, so I can show him the process and we can work it out. And with 2 of us, we'll get it done double quick.
Yeah.
And the poor bugger's come off his bike, hasn't he?
Oh, God. Never.
So he's not coming now. He's all right. He's hurt his ankle. Possibly broke his ankle, but
Oh, dear.
so that's ruled that out. So
See, back to your lonesome. Back to you and all your mates.
Before it even got going.
I know, yeah. You're destined to clean screens on your own, aren't you?
Yeah, so that's the plan for tonight.
Awesome.
We'll be here till very late. and because I knew this was happening, I've saved them all.
You've saved them all.
So I've got literally every screen I
You've
own
got
has to be
double
stripped.
screens.
Oh, what a dickhead.
I don't mind if you can get some earphones in and just knuckle down. I don't mind cleaning screens, if I'm honest. If
I know you've said that a few times.
if people leave me alone and it's my time, and I just if I've got a big pile in front of me, I'm not too bad. Tape drives me insane a little bit, but after that, I'm all right.
I think if you've got your processes in place, if you've got good chemicals that you know are going to do the job effectively, it's a hell of a lot easier. When you're scrubbing away with subpar chemicals, or if your dip tank emulsion's a little bit oversaturated and a bit weaker than it should be. Of course,
Diluted.
It becomes a real nightmare.
Yeah.
Diluted. My process is getting a lot better, so I think I've got a bit of a negative attachment to washing screens, because that's a lot of time in previous years. Not so bad nowadays. It's a lot of time in my head. You know what I mean? And it's not ideal. That
I'm okay with it. I've got systems in my head that work. I think over my visits that I do, I start to see how it can be a pain in the ass. You know, if you just hit the nail on the head there. If one thing in the process is not right, then you end up disliking it. Caleb sent me a text. Can't believe after all this time I've been doing this, I used to hate doing screens. I used to absolutely detest it. And I used to do it after hours because of the smell and the chemicals and everything else. And it was the one part of the whole job that he absolutely hated. He's now sent me a text to say, can't believe I actually love washing screens now. So after all this time, I can't believe when you used to tell me how many screens you used to do an hour, and I'd be nope, absolute call bullshit on it. So now I'm flying through them. I actually look forward to cleaning the screens now. It's one of the best parts of the job because I love it when it works.
Yeah.
And it was just a bad dip tank. That's
All
all
right,
it was, just a bad dip tank. And we took the chemicals out of the dip tank, put them into spray bottles with a scrubbing brush, a little scrubbing pad.
Yeah. So do you like a brush or a pad?
Pad. I really like the pads.
Do you? I find
really
the pads
do.
less effective than a brush.
I really, really like them. I don't know what it is about them, but I think they're a lot easier than a brush now. I think it's waste as well. You know, the brush, dipping a brush in a bucket is loads of waste.
You can still spray it on a brush.
The spray and brush, but depending where you buy the brush from. You know, if you buy a brush from local hardware store, it's not going to work. If you get them from like CPS brushes, colour coded, then they're expensive and they go a bit flat. They can go a bit flat.
Compressed over time.
Yeah.
I've had mine years as well, you know.
Yeah.
I don't mind them.
You're tight from Yorkshire.
I still like a magic sponge, me. But magic sponges. Magic sponges taking over this shop.
I did try
use
it
at every process.
They don't last very long, do they?
They don't. Well, actually, I've got a little tip for you. They don't because they're really good at cleaning. So you clean a screen and you turn it around and you look at it and go, fucking hell, that's minging. I can't use that to degrease a screen.
Well, they physically break.
That might be quality at magic sponge.
Yeah,
some of the cheaper
physically
ones do.
break. Yeah.
Yeah, they come off like corners and stuff, don't they?
Yeah.
But
I must admit,
extra strong ones.
I've heard you go on about them for so fucking long now that I thought I'll have to buy some and test them. So I bought some. Well, of course, at least a third of them didn't make it past the kitchen. Because I'm like, oh, it does. Oh, that works.
Oh, aye.
What else can I clean?
Microwave never been so clean.
Yeah, oven door, mate. Oven door sparkling.
Okay, no.
So, and then when I finally got a chance to test it on a screen, I was testing it on. I don't know if I've ever shown you the pictures. I probably described it. The worst screens I've ever seen. This job's difficult because if the place is good, I'm gonna name you. If you're bad, I've got to skirt around it because I don't want to. There's no point naming and shaming. But there is a company I go to, and they are by far the worst screens I've ever seen in my life. And I thought, okay, let's put the magic sponge to the test. Because if a magic sponge can clean this, I'm all in. I'm buying a car full.
Yeah.
And it didn't. It didn't clean it.
A lot of people use it for the final step of well, maybe not the final step. Basically, the ghost, getting rid of ghost images.
Staining, yeah, for the subtle staining. If you've got good quality screens and you've done everything you should do, and you've just got that last little bit that's really annoying you, but in reality, you could probably get away with. You could get away with anyway because it's just coloured mesh. It's not an actual blockage.
If you're super OCD about it, though.
Well, some people are. Then for me, I think it works. I think it works well.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's a great little print shop life hack, and I think most people who are using that hack use it as just literally for that job.
Yeah.
Whereas I've gone a bit bored with it, and I have a box of sponges for scrubbing ink out, a box of sponges for getting rid of ghost. Having a final one for degreasing. It's a bit OCD. It cost me a fortune in sponges, but it does such a good job, I don't care. It's worth it. Oh, I think I've seen worse actually recently. There's in a cat. I'm not going to show. I can't really show you without giving it away, but that is pretty minging, isn't it?
That's the worst.
That's like a skill.
I've got 50 of knowledge. 50 of those.
How? What's the word? How is this a shop that's been around a while?
Yeah, well established. Yeah.
That's the word I'm looking for. How
I know,
established
yeah.
is this business?
I know now. We've worked together enough now. I know which words you're looking for.
It's about time we
yeah.
sorted this shit out, isn't it? Really?
Well
That's
established.
inexcusable.
This is after my first visit. After.
Really?
And on my first visit, I pulled them on severely on that. And I even went to the point of I found someone selling some second-hand screens. I put them in touch. They bought, there was like 500 going, and they bought 50 and had them remeshed with Chris.
Yeah.
Had everything organised for them and told them the best thing to do was to put knives through those. Yeah, okay, totally understand, yeah. And then, so obviously on my second visit, I'm gutted.
Still there.
That this, well, my first thought is that one of the new screens? Because if that's one of the new screens, we've not changed the process. And I was like, I can't believe these screens are like this. Will you stop using these? These aren't the new ones. Please tell me these aren't the new ones. And they went, no, they're the new ones. They're still in cardboard boxes, all 50 of them. Why are we still using these then?
Why would you?
Oh, we're saving them. For what?
For best.
Yeah, for best. For saving them for best. That's a proper Yorkshire thing, that, isn't it? Saving it for best. And so we're like, just bid them now. Bid them. We can still use them. You can't still use them. They're dead. Trust me. What's happened is they've had a stain in the top corner. Okay, I thought, well, I don't use the top corner anyway. I'm only using this middle bit here.
Use it as a chest badge on the other side.
And then, yeah, so well, you'll use it. And then over 30 or 40 designs, that workable area just gets smaller and smaller. And eventually stop cleaning the corners and stop cleaning the edges and just clean that from 4-inch inside the frame all the way around.
How can you get it so badly wrong? How can a professional setup get it so badly wrong? I shouldn't be saying this because I might be listening, but like, seriously.
It's odds on that they're not. But yeah, you're right. Especially after paying someone to come in and tell them what's wrong. And this is I spent 95% of my time in the screen room.
Yeah, that is the beginning of all their problems. I don't know any of it. I don't know what my shop is. I don't know what the problem is, but I can guarantee the beginning of every single problem in that shop starts there.
Yeah, I would normally spend 10% of my time in the screen room because most people are making them, but they just need tweaking, steering, just a little bit of guidance. This was like, okay, all of your problems are in the screen room. All of your problems are here. And again, it was a dip tank. Maybe it's dip tanks. Maybe I am against dip tanks. I thought I liked them, but maybe I don't.
Dip tanks are great if you use them properly. We've been through this.
Yeah.
It's Bryce and his auto reclaim. Exactly the same thing. Keep them clean. Keep your chemicals fresh. Dip them. Don't strip them. Don't leave them screens in that dip tank to the point that the emulsion can start to drip. You're literally saturating the emulsion, letting it soak in a little bit, pulling them out, give it a minute, and then rinse it, and it'll come off a dream. But if any of that emulsion's diluting the dip tank, within weeks, it's a subpar chemical, and you will have a nightmare reclaiming screens.
Dip them, don't strip them.
I had that up on cuff as well, you know.
That
was right off top of the dome, that.
That's getting printed on side at dip tanks that we're making.
That's a good one, right? The Chippy Tea dip tanks. Dip them.
Chippy Tea dip tank. Dip them, don't strip them.
We're going to be rich as always.
We're not, because we never fucking follow through with anything we actually say.
Somebody's already gone and done it. We've listened to episodes and I've done it myself.
Yeah.
I've seen another shop doing exactly the same. Now, to be fair to this shop, the original owner of the shop sold it, and the new occupants, I don't have a clue what they're doing, and they're putting pictures up on Instagram of the screens, like, oh, look at this new screen we're about to print. And oh my God, it's disgusting. It's like they've been coating it with brands.
I think it's time we named it and shamed. I'm up for it.
Not too far from me. Oh, that'll be bitches.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Most important part of the process.
The screens. Everything starts with the screens.
I say so. Pretty sure that's a shirt slogan, but we'll let it slide.
Well, last week I was at a place where quite a lot of investment, has been done in the screen room with a new laser to screen and some bits and pieces, new clean side, dirty side washout booths.
Oh, I like that.
Without
That's
going
my
too
cup of tea,
crazy on investments, there's no auto reclaim, no auto coater, but auto coater's next on the list. Still got a little bit of variation between people that were coating. You know, one person's 5 foot, the other person's 6 foot, and they're coating against a wall on a table. So therefore, you know, when your shoulders get level, you lose pressure. For me, I'm all right coating until it gets to about there. And when you get to, that's just for
It's a bit awkward,
Spotify, when your hands are level with your shoulders, it gets really difficult to maintain the pressure.
Yeah. And so it's not ergonomic, it starts to hurt a bit as well. Like you hurt your fingers and your arms. You start going, if you've got
I've always
screens
coated
to do.
one-handed. I find it really, really comfortable coating
One holding, one.
Yeah.
That type of job.
Yeah. Using your knee to rest on, your other foot to kick it out. It's just, it's my default setting, if you like, before anybody invented any sort of stands whatsoever. That's how we did it.
Well, they're still quite rare. You don't see them in many shops. I mean, I'm presuming. I don't see them on Instagram too often, so I'm assuming you turn up to plenty of shops where they are still coating by knee and hand or auto coater.
There's a lot of people coat with a big angle, and I'm not keen on coating with a big angle.
No, I don't quite understand that.
You know, like the screens at that angle, and they coat like that. I'm all for sort of almost straight up.
Yeah, because I can imagine if you're coating it, the more extreme an angle you're coating it, the more chance you're going to get thick edges where the emulsion starts to spill out.
The ones that really piss me off.
Aye, where you alternate it.
They start with that angle, and by the time they get to the top of that angle, I'm like, you name me a coating machine that does that. You show me, if that was the best way to do it, the coating machine would copy that. And no coating machine I see ever changes the angle in which it applies the emulsion.
I can imagine that changes the... You're chancing...
You have more emulsion on top than you are at bottom. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, if you alternate it and do it the opposite way, the other side, you might get away with it.
You get a proper variation.
It's bad practice from the off, innit? And,
it is, yeah.
And guess what? The next person who comes along who takes over that role for you, they'll do it. They might do it even worse, even more extreme.
It's my 20%. That's my 20% rule. I reckon, right, if you are 100% okay with what you're doing and really good at, and somebody comes along and says, teach me, I think most people have only got the capacity to pass on 80% of what they know. And sometimes it's a lack of skill or a lack of explanation skill. And sometimes it's a protectionism. I'm not giving you everything because then you're as good as me. And so we pass on 80%, which is fine, and we can just about get away with it. And we hope the other person's got enough intelligence to fill their own 20% in.
To catch up, yeah.
But when that happens 5 times in short succession, what we find is after the 5th person, they don't know which end of the squeegee to use. They don't know which end of the coating trough to use. You know, they believe that there's a round edge and a sharp edge. Come on, get a grip.
I know, yeah. You see, this actually leads on quite nicely into scalability in a way. And it's almost like the bigger the shop you've got, the more employees and more staff, that 20% rule is exacerbated even more because, like you say, you're going to have the bigger your shop, the more you're going to have a higher turnaround of staff members. You're going to have staff members, no matter how good your company is. You're going to have people in and out of that shop because people move on with their lives, and so that 20% rule could quite easily exacerbate and snowball to the point where you've got people who are basically half clueless. And
that's what they're doing, 100%.
And it'd be hard to keep on top of. I can imagine scaling your shop to that size. The bigger your shop is, the more that becomes an actual real world issue. For me, it's not a problem.
No, but
the bigger you get,
That's a perfect explanation of where I've just been. So this shop moved from I showed you the break room.
Oh, aye. Break room, like an hotel.
So
you could feed an army in here.
That footage, that square footage of space there, was equivalent to the whole shop, including the office.
God.
And that was a dryer, an embroidery machine, heat press, office, everybody squeezed into that space. The new space, obviously you've seen it, it's gorgeous. And it was another machine, a 1214,
Right.
as well as the little 810 that they already had, an upgraded dryer, and a screen room to die for. But still the same 3 people.
Really? Wow.
Because, it's only 3 weeks in. They've only been in there 3 weeks. There's no point getting loads and loads of people to squash into a small space. Well, wait while we get into the big space and then get some people. This leads in nicely to your scalability. In that, okay, how do we scale this now from one press kicking out, almost working like a manual? Yeah? And I know it was working like a manual. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm not saying, that working like a manual is a bad thing. But there weren't enough people to staff it the whole time.
Totally.
It cut deep, I know. It was basically, there's 50 pieces to do. I'm not going to stop you from cleaning screens to come and help me do these 50. So I'm just going to do them on my own. And I'm going to put a box end at dryer. And then I'm going to stop and I'm going to count and pull them all out. I hate pulling stuff out of that box.
That's the time stop.
Mate, that's the first thing I'd stop. It takes me back to the double handling that I first saw ever. I trained someone to catch on the end of the dryer, and poor girl was getting a little bit upset, and she's catching them. And one fell on the floor, and so she bent down to pick it up, put it on the table, and in that time another one fell on the floor. So she bent down, and then 10 minutes she was ticking them off the floor.
That's a full-blown workout.
Just go forward 3 and then start back again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It goes back to that double handling thing. I keep saying this, but the presses, the system, the whole process in automatic printing is designed to do large numbers. I heard somebody say, it might have been on a podcast, reproduction artists. We are reproduction artists.
Interesting. Not heard that episode.
You have, I'm sure. Reproduction artists, which means that what we're really good at is reproducing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, that actually is a really good phrase. I like that.
It stuck with me as well. I always thought we were production, but we're reproduction.
That's totally true. We're experts in reproducing people's artwork, if we're honest, aren't we? That
makes us reproduction organs, but never mind, that's a different...
Shirt shaggers. No, that doesn't work, does it? No.
Yeah. So as reproduction artists, our job is to just keep doing the same task over and over again efficiently. Well, when you've got 3,000 pieces in front of you, that's easy. When there's 50 pieces in front of you, it is hard to do that efficiently on these machines that I use. They're not designed to do that.
No.
And I have to question myself as to who would be more efficient, me or you, on a 50-piece run. So, and I think you on a carousel and me on an auto press, it would be you.
Do you reckon?
Yes, because every second of your time, there is a task assigned to it. So therefore, you're efficient.
And it's a conscious
I could probably
effort.
produce more, but there would be loads of wasted time on mine. I'd print them all and then have to catch them all. And then I'd load 12 and then print 12 and then sit around and watch it while it printed and then put them on the dryer and then go catch them off the dryer. So I'd have loads and loads of dead time, which would make it inefficient. I'd probably still be faster than you, but that's not what I'm saying. It's efficient, which means the best use of your time.
You couldn't use those 12, 30 seconds waiting for it to come back around. You can't really do it weird, can you?
No, the only way I could do it is to staff it with 3 people.
That's right, yeah.
So this is what I'm saying.
Let me ask you this.
If staffing it with 3 people, that's efficient. One putting them on, one taking it off, one catching them at end at dryer. And the argument I'm getting is, well, it's only 50 pieces. I'll do them on my own. Yeah, but there's 50 pieces behind it, and there's 50 pieces behind that, and there's 50 pieces behind that.
Get the next one on.
And some of the stuff I heard was, well, we're not very busy this week, so we've slowed down. No, don't slow down. Well, we'll have nothing to do.
That's very good.
We'll have nothing to do by Thursday. I said, let me tell you a trick I used to do. When I was in charge of production, it's a constant, I want to say a battle, but contest between sales and production.
Yeah.
Sales want to sell more stuff, production want to produce more stuff, and soon there's always a fight. There's too much sales. So one of the best kickbacks I ever got was going up and sitting in the sales room and putting my feet on the desk and twiddling my thumbs and going,
I'm waiting.
I'm done.
Yeah.
And that's the goal you need to aim for.
That's a motivator.
If you can get to that point and start to put pressure on sales to sell more stuff, then you're winning. Because 99% of the time, 95% of the time, they are putting pressure on you saying, I've sold this, you need to produce it. We've sold this, you need to produce it. And you go, well, we can't do it. Well, I've sold it now, you've got to do it. And it's a great motivator, like you say, to be able to sit back and go, okay, it's only Wednesday afternoon and we've done all this week's work. Sell more stuff. Put some pressure back on the sales. Well, what I'm finding is, if you've only got 3 days' work, you just take 5 days to do it. Because that's the pipeline's slowed down, that's all that's coming through.
Have a clean.
Turn the press off. Turn the press off. Go work in embroidery. Go work in heat press. Go do something else. But when you
put pressure on the sales team,
when you spread 5 days' work into 2 days' work into 5, the owner thinks you're at capacity. I think, well, there's no point selling more stuff or ordering you more work or getting you more staff to help because you're already at the peak. And I had basically 2 presses at my last place where there were one person per press. And it could take, well, they said they could only do 1 6-colour job per day. And the first person I thought of when they said that was you.
I thought it might be, yeah.
Because I've asked you a very similar sort of question. 100 it's only 100 shirts. So 100 shirts, 6-colour, how many can you do a day? And you say, well, I'll probably do one of them all day. It's a day's work, that.
Yeah.
Well, in the grand scheme of things, I have a little calculator.
On an auto?
Yeah. But in the grand scheme of things, I have an Excel spreadsheet where I calculate a time value to each job. And the time value for this job came out at 105 minutes. So an hour and a half, basically. Just an hour and 35 minutes.
Wow.
And so I said, well, that's start to finish. That's picking the screens up, putting them in, setting it, printing it, taking it down. 105 minutes. No, it takes all day. I said, okay, let's me and you do it. And we did it in an organised way, and it was set up in 20 minutes. 24 minutes to print it. So that's 44 minutes. 100 shirts, 6-colour, on and off. We then spent another 40 minutes pulling them out of the box and sorting them into sizes. Because there wasn't somebody at the end of the dryer to catch them. And that 44 minutes, we weren't printing. And that's the point I'm trying to get across. We're not printing, and we only earn money when the squeegee moves.
That's something that's very poignant for me at the moment. And it's not just catching shirts.
For catching shirts, no.
No, it's not just catching shirts. It's getting distracted and coming to answer an email or somebody walking in or, well, shit, I've got to get this boxed up and ready before DPD turns up in about 2 minutes. I'm only getting paid when I'm stood at that press. So, how would you prioritise that employee? At what point in the, let's say for me, how much priority would you put to having a person on hand to catch shirts, to stack, and then maybe when I'm not printing, they can potter about doing other jobs? Would that be your first person over admin, over a screen goblin, over, I don't know, a salesperson, marketing, whatever? Is that high up on your first
So
person
I'm,
you should have
I'm
in your
only
shop?
talking about production. The actual the admin side was a separate office, all done. So as far as production's concerned, we basically got 2 presses, full screen room, and heat press and embroidery, and goods in and goods out. And total, there were 4 people. I'm like, yeah, 4 people. All right, okay, let's start from scratch. How many people should be here? Okay, there should be 3 on that press, 3 on that press, 1 in the screen room, 1 in dispatch, and 1 floor walker, just basically making sure everything's okay. And the boss was looking at me like, hang on, you want me to go from 4 people to 8 people? What's going on? Well, right now, you're limited to how many pieces you can produce because the machines are full. Everybody's working. Nobody's lazy. Everybody's working. And they're working really hard, really fast. But even working hard and really fast, they can still only produce one 6-colour job per day because they're doing it completely alone. They're going and making their own screens.
Yeah, but doing each task individually,
Yeah.
and that just lengthens every job.
Yeah, I sometimes use making chips. Chips, fries. I'm going American. making chips.
Freedom fries, as
Yeah.
Dylan calls them.
making fries. You would never wash a potato, cut a potato, fry all those chips, and then go back and wash another potato, cut the potato, fry some chips. You wouldn't do 1 potato at a time. You'd cut 3 potatoes up and fry them all at the same time.
Yeah.
Because the time involved is crazy. So it's the same sort of thing. When we're breaking the task down into individual and we're making 1 person, we think we're saving money by not employing people. You just reduced the whole shop to what is basically a 2 manual shop.
Yeah, in a way, I guess
It's
so.
now a 2 manual shop instead of a 1 manual shop. And the guys put total investment about 4 million. Yeah, so and for his 4 million, all he got was another manual.
It's a lousy t-shirt.
Yeah, he could have just spent $5,000 and put another manual in. He could have spent nothing and just put a guy working nights.
It's a very similar analogy to. So me and RJ used to bag. Our process was we found the most efficient way to fold and polybag was one of us would fold, one of us would put them in the bags, and then if I was really lucky, Jasmine would be peeling them, sticking them, and then sticking a side sticker on. So the process of having like a chain of people is so much more efficient and so much quicker when you've got 1 person designated to doing 1 part of the process. Whereas if if let's just say I just said to Jade, right, go fold and bag all them, she'd have to fold them, then she'd take the label off and stick it, and then put a sticker on, and then put that one in box. And it took like 2 or 3 times the length of time to do it because you were doing each step of the process by yourself.
Production line. Think about your car production line. Your car production line. That car never stops. But 1 person performs a task. So we've now got a predictable rate of production.
That's
It
right.
never stops. Somebody just comes and does 1 task. Nobody has to put the window wipers on, find the engine, put the exhaust on. It goes from 1 bay to another, where 1 person just does 1 task. 1 person does 1 task. I do believe. I don't know where this comes from. About 1985 in my clouded memory.
Right. I can't remember that.
At school, we were taught economics.
Right.
On how the world worked, and we were taught how banks work and how production worked and how manufacturing worked. I know, nobody gets taught it now. We got taught.
What a waste.
We got taught interest rates and clearinghouses and everything at school. And one of the things that sticks in my head was demarcation. I'm sure it was called demarcation, and it was to do with the manufacturing of. I think it was pins or nails.
Right.
And the guy responsible for demarcation would split each task down into 1 individual demarcation, put each one down into a certain place. I'll have to Google that and check where I've got that, because there might be a lot of fog in the middle of that. But it stuck with me in that the best way to achieve a task was to break it down into its workable parts, and then do it one part at a time. So I'm a big believer in that. As we when I go into places like, right, stop your screen guy making printing, stop your printing guys making screens.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have enough work to employ a full-time screens guy. Well, that's a you problem over there. That's a sales problem.
Yeah.
That's not a production problem. That's a sales problem.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
So you've got 2 pressers, brand spanking new. You've got all this new equipment. How many screens a day do you think you're going to make? Oh, about 10 to 15 a week. No, you're not. If you want to fill these presses with jobs of under 100 pieces with an average of 4 colours, you're going to be making 20, 30, 40 screens a day. Well, that needs a dedicated person. We're not busy enough yet. So make the person and then get busy. But there's a chicken and egg thing here. You'll never will be busy enough if you don't get the person, because you'll always think you're printing to capacity.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right, definitely. So, from the perspective of an employee, let's just say the shop has a week's worth of. Let's just say the shop has 2 days worth of work efficiently, but at the end of the week they're coming and saying, "Oh yeah, we've done it in 5 days." Oh, we just stretched it out. Yeah. They're stretching it out. Like they're not telling you, but they've stretched it out because that's the employee. The employee's thinking, well, there's no point going flat out.
If I go fast, I'm going to have nothing to do. Yeah.
Going back to you at the fish factory, I think it was a fish factory or something like that, and you've got a bollocking for shifting fish from one end to other or something super fast. I can't remember what it was.
It was bacon.
Bacon, that's what it was.
I'm going to have to be careful what I tell you. You don't forget shit, do you? You don't forget. No, I'm not. I'm going to have to be careful what I actually tell you. That must be over a year ago I've said that to you.
Like episode 20 or something.
about 2 hours, 53 minutes in. All right. Rain Man, counting cards.
You're the first person who's ever said I've got a good memory. I'm very forgetful.
I know you can't remember what you have for your breakfast.
Oh, God. I can today. Chuffing ready break. I'm on a bit of a...
Oh, God.
What's the word? I'm a...
Health kick?
Yeah, I guess so, in a way. I've had a bit of... I spoke to a bloke in strongman world, and he was giving me a little bit of advice. And you know me, I'm a bit of a bugger with my energy drinks and bad shit. And what I'm essentially doing is I'm constantly trying to supplement energy. I wake up and I'm looking to supplement energy and get more production and more creativity out of myself. But I'm looking to quick, cheap, easy fixes, which are actually having a very negative effect. They're having the opposite of effect. You just get this short burst and then plummet.
And then you crash, yeah.
And this fellow giving me some good tips on how to get out of that cycle. And so I've been eating ready breakfast for my breakfast and cutting energy drinks out. And one thing I do is get up first thing in the morning. I'm having to get up at 6:30. That's one of my new things. But not only get up at 6:30, get outside in fresh air and just have 3 minutes just taking in the outdoors. No matter where you are, take it in. Because from the caveman days, the only reason we have roofs over our head is to protect us from getting eaten whilst we sleep.
Yeah.
And that's the pure reason we have roof over our heads. And because of the way we are now, we've got so many distractions and so many, we've got to get here and there, whatever. Just getting outside first thing in the morning, being outside and just taking it in for a few minutes. Apparently it releases, I don't know if it was cortisol or something like that, a chemical in his brain that innately we should all do. And that's the natural way we are. But we don't. Instead we go chasing a coffee and slam some sugar and energy to get him and then just go do this and this, pick your phone up and whatever, So practicing a little bit of that. Practicing being a little bit...
Good.
Anyway, what we're talking about, printing shirts or something?
I have no idea. No.
I don't know.
Porridge.
Let me porridge. Ah, porridge. It was not anti-moire. Shall we segue that into an anti-moire? Since we've brought it up. Anti-moire, my old cocker. Anti-moire. The trouble is, I'm not entirely sure where we're up to. Got that many.
That many?
Did I read about...
2?
I've only had 2, but I've got about 1 million emails that I need to work through. It slowed down. I think he realises I'm way behind. So, unlike my customers, he's letting me catch up. Hello, my darlings. It's been a long week of standing over at press, dripping with sweat and squeegeeing away. I'm ready for my nightly sip of brown dogger. Is that a clue? Is that brown dogger? Is that brown ale?
Brown dogger, where I come from, means something completely different. He's flashing your lights in park.
Hey, good God. This just took a dark turn. Anyway, I'm ready for my night of dogging and I've tuned into my favourite podcast. But if that one is not available, this must have been last week, I might give you all one a listen. You'll get. That's it. She's gone. Cut anti-moire out. Anyway, whilst I was pulling my squeegee for the 1000th time this week, I had a mind to think about mesh and emulsion. Those two go together like Morecambe and Wise, Little and Large, and Corbett and Barker. And I arrived at a question I thought my lads would know the answer to.
2 Ronnies. That's an old. Someone's old.
He's knocking on a bit.
Corbett and Barker.
Corbett.
That's 2 Ronnies.
Morecambe and Wise as well. That's going back a bit. That's like, it's got to be early 90s.
It's somebody
80s, isn't it?
Over 40.
Right, so that's another clue. And he also likes dogging.
You keep saying he.
Oh, shit, yeah, it might be a bird. We can't stereotype. No. Girls can be into dogging too.
I don't like where this is going.
What would you say was an average or good EOM reading for a 43T coated screen using photo, polymer, average solid count emulsion? So here's another clue. He's probably got an EOM reader. Got some gear, haven't you? Anti-moire.
Yeah. You know me and EOM. I'm not a big believer in it.
You're a big believer in using the old
fingernail. Use your fingernail. Yeah. And that, I know that puts me at the poor end of the scale, but
is it overkill?
I have got a thickness reader, okay, and I do have it, but I find it doesn't give me predictable results. Now that could be my thickness gauge reader. It could be that I have to go spend $1,000 on one, £1,000 on one, and hopefully it gives me a better one. But there used to be, there's 2 values. One's the RZ value, the RZ value, the resistance, which measures how smooth it runs over the top. And one's the EOM, the emulsion over mesh, the thickness. And I think if you want a number, I'd say between 10 and 12%.
It means not to me, but
yeah, that's why I don't like it. It means nothing to 95% of the people I see. I'll go as far as 99%. 99% of the shops I visit, that number means fuck all. I haven't got a clue what you mean. And if you don't have an auto coater, I don't think you can control it. So anybody with an auto coater, without an auto coater, I think an EOM reader is... What are you measuring? You're measuring the fluffiness of the clouds. You know, yeah, sure, it gives you a great reading, but it's such a random thing that why the fuck would I want to know it? If you're coating by hand and you get you perfect a technique, let's say of a 2-1, and it gives you an EOM of 12 to 13%, great. What about my next screen? It's completely different because I looked the other way when I was coating, somebody talked to me, I had a bit of a giggle. And you can't get a consistent result. So
if you're doing it by hand, forget about it.
Yeah.
If you've got a machine, I think if we go to a machine,
we measure it once.
Yeah, I feel like if you've got a machine and it's maybe it's a new install of this machine, get an emulsion guy in, maybe even the emulsion guru,
I'm supposed to catch
who
up with him
will
this
have a
trip.
reader. Get him in, get him to sort of dial everything in for you. As long as it, and I'm sure he will work within a window. He'll look at that EOM and say, "Yeah, that's within a window,
Yeah.
an acceptable window." Ticks that box, sets you up, leaves you to crack on. Because what's
There's
going
a
to
guy in
change?
the UK does it. The guy in the UK is very good.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Dean Smith at Pyramid.
All right, yeah.
He'll come in with all the gear, his EOM measure and his RZ measure and
Oh,
his
there you go,
humidity
then.
measure, and he'll come and do it for you. You don't have to buy it. Just get him in. You might have to buy his emulsion, but
It sounds
ultimately,
like good stuff, doesn't
they're
it?
coming to help you and take advantage of it. I say.
Yeah. Well, so maybe that's a good tip. If Auntie Moira is actually a big phony and she lives within the UK, then again, Ireland sort of. I'm sure he'd travel to Ireland, would he? Don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're buying their stuff, yeah. If you're using Pyramid for a screen for your screen supplies, then
Get him in.
100%
sorted
get
once.
Dean in, and he will dial in your process for you. He's our English version of Kevin Cowth, Emulsion Guru.
There you go. But otherwise, sort of.
Tell him Tony sent you. Get a discount code.
It's a bit overkill, isn't it? It's a bit overkill having one of them readers, I guess.
No, it's good to know. It's good to control variables. You've got to control variables. But first of all, we've got to make sure we're coating correctly, we're cleaning properly, we're degreasing properly, we're drying in the right humidity. We've got to get all those dialed in first.
Yeah.
Only after that do we start to look at, okay, how can I improve the process even better? And we spend some money on an emulsion gauge, a thickness gauge, and we're basically looking at the difference of the mesh and the emulsion. So we measure the mesh, that's a certain thickness. Then we measure the mesh and emulsion, that's a certain thickness. And then we get a number. And that number will tell us basically how thick the emulsion is. And we want to have a thick emulsion on the shirt side and a flat emulsion on the ink side, so that the squeegee just smooths over and doesn't go and chatters.
Yeah.
And we want that gasket of ink that releases on the shirt side. But, that's why we dry the screen shirt side down.
Yeah.
Because gravity fills
to
that gasket for us and creates that gasket for us. Even if if coating technique is 1-on-1, drying the screen shirt side down is going to create that gasket for us, and that's going to be where we get our thickness from.
Yeah. So tick all your boxes, and then that's sort of like back end at least. Tick all your other boxes first, and then maybe if you're still having problems, or if you just want to delve that deep into it, maybe you can start looking at EOM. But just get Brian down. Was it Brian? Dave? Keith? Dean. Get Keith down. Good memory.
Awesome. But yeah, that's what I'd do, and get someone in that knows what they're talking about, and filter through the salesman stuff, and then go, okay, what am I getting with this technique? What am I getting with this technique? And then work it backwards as to a technique that works for you.
Yeah. So, a print shop price rat race. Now, I saw this come up in the chat, which I don't pay too much attention to nowadays, but I did pop in and have a quick look.
I know what this is. I saw this as well, and I was shocked by it.
You were shocked by it? Wow, it's standard as well. So, the print shop rat race pricing war. I feel like there's a bit of there's a lot of shops that are just underpricing, and it just drives everybody's pricing down. And
It's a race to the bottom.
Rat race to the bottom. And this is why I think a lot of print shops are completely underpaid and undervalued because of it. We're all trying to keep up with. But one in particular is internet labels and what people charge for internet labels. And I would say on average, the industry in the UK, on average, charging between £1, £1.50 for a neck label. No screen fee, literally just a flat fee of £1 to £1.50.
Yeah.
But there's zero difference between a neck label.
And a
If
sleeve
anything,
print.
there's even more work to a single colour front chest badge.
Sleeve print, yeah. It's the same as a sleeve
Absolutely
print.
right.
Whatever
We
you would
all-
charge for a sleeve print, that's what you should charge for a neck label.
Yeah, I would say that. So here's my thought on this and my question to you, Tony. Can the rat race be reversed? Can the bigger shops, the more influential shops, the shops that get the bigger share of the market, can they take a stand? Can they start charging fairly for neck labels? And then the rat race would work in reverse. Everybody, that would filter down where people can actually now start charging a fair point. Do you see what I'm saying?
No. I'd see what you're saying, but no.
But no.
And it's really just economics, really. There will always be someone that does it cheaper than you.
But here's what I mean. But what if the bigger shops, the shops that have got a bigger share of the market already, what if they start charging an higher price and they start making it clear, look, there's no difference between a sleeve print, a one colour chest badge and a neck label. In fact, actually, there's more work because if we start having to tape off indicators or if we have to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 neck labels on a screen, that's 5 setups really in essence.
Yeah, well, the big guys can't do that because their machines won't move up and down that far.
Well, that's a fair point. But you know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is, if those boys said, this is why we have to charge it at a more fair price, then everybody else sort of catches up saying, oh, well, I can charge that now. You don't think?
No, because they're in a battle. The big guys are in a constant battle where there is one job to do and 4 people are fighting for it. It's very rare that someone will come to you and you're in a bidding war between 4 other companies where you have to get it, and you have a lot of chances to requote it. It's all like, right, how much for me 25 shirts? Yeah. How much for me 25 shirts, Danny? And you give me a price and I go, okay, well, Joe Bloggs in Hull, he'll do it for cheaper. You'll either tell me to fuck off and get it done, or
you don't even get that chance, to be fair.
Yeah, and that's me giving you the chance. Now, What if I say to you, well, there's 3 other people in the race for my 25 shirts, and these are the prices that the 3 other people have got. If you can beat those, then off you go. And that's a good assumption of what happens to the big guys that are doing the 3 and 4 and 5,000 pieces for Google and Facebook and places like that. Is they have a small 4-hour window with which to reply with a fully illustrated quote.
Yeah.
That's 4 hours. So that's picking the phone up going, all right, how much for 5,000 Google shirts with a back neck label and 5 on the front? Okay, let me get your quote together. I want to put full visual, full chemical breakdown, full everything, and you've got 4 hours, clock's ticking. And if you don't get back to them in 4 hours, you can guarantee that 3 other people have. And sometimes it's first in, first served. And so they've already fought really, really hard to get it. And now the 20 pence over budget on the back neck print. Okay, well, we buy our shirts really, really well. So we have a real good deal with Stanley Stella. They give us an extra 20% off compared to anybody else. So we can afford to make it look like we're charging less for the back neck. In effect, we're still getting the same money. It's just that all our money's in the shirt. That leads on to something I saw this week, which is with the money in the shirt. I've done 2 different places over the last month. And one place, point blank refuses, big contract place, refuses to stock inventory. I've been here too long. To hold stock.
Yeah.
So if you want 100 Gildan shirts,
if you're holding to stock, it means you're not selling them.
You give me 100 Gildan shirts and I'll charge you for printing them.
Yeah.
So that means the customer buys the shirt.
Yeah.
And although it's a big place with 5 autos, I think they're missing about 10 to 15% of the total order value, which could be profit, because they're unwilling to finance the whole deal.
The bulk. Right.
So in other words, I've got a good deal with it. What most places will do is that like you know, I want 100 Stanley Stella Black XLs. You won't go to your back room and find me 100 XL Black.
No, it turns up day after.
Yeah. But you also would be gutted if I said to you, I've bought myself 100 Stanley Stella Black XL and we're going to give them you to print and I just want you to charge me for 25 pence every time you move your squeegee. You'd much rather stick 10%, 10 quid, whatever it is, on a shirt. My guy
I used to work that way.
Yeah, my guy up in the far north, he stuck like $10 on a shirt. It was not a percent of the total value. Sold t-shirts and sweatshirts. A t-shirt stick $10 on, a sweatshirt stick $12 on. That's it, done.
Wow.
Simplest pricing structure in the world you could possibly think of, and that's before I print it.
Oh God!
And then if I'm only getting £2 for printing it, fine. I've just made $10 for supplying you the shirt because I'm in the business of supplying you a printed garment. Otherwise,
that must be like retail end.
Otherwise, I'm just a contract printer. Contract printer will charge you for just print only,
but not making it.
And I think that's hard work. I really do. So we go back to back neck, and you know, if you buy it for £1 and sell it for £2 printed, you could say 50p for back neck and 50p for sleeve. Everybody's happy. And then, actually, if you buy it for 50p and still sell it for £2, you've just made more money.
I know what you're saying. Yeah. So basically, you're just investing up front.
Yeah.
Storing it. But you do that with your main styles. If you know you're going to get rid of black shirts, a certain brand all day, all week long.
No, I don't even mean that. I mean, if somebody wants 100 shirts, you buy 100 shirts and then next day print them. So the whole turnaround is about 4 days because we can get next day stock from Pencarry or whoever it is.
Well, we know somebody. We know one or two places that do that. I know someone who does it. That's almost their whole ethos.
Yeah, and my point is that if you don't do that, if you say to the customer, give me whatever you want and I'll print it and I'll just charge you for printing it, I think you're losing out on a big percentage of profit.
Well, I did that for a while and I strongly encouraged it, but there was a reason behind it, which I don't think I'll go into because we've been there before.
Yeah.
But you're right. I agree with you. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
So in other words, no, we're fucked. We can't undo the rat race.
No, I don't think you can. No.
So that puts extra pressure.
Get some sunshine, look. Look at that, sunshine.
Whoa! Get your sleeves up, get a little tan on go. You're looking very tanned. You can tell you've been. Oh, that's a good point. When did you run? Can't be far off now.
Well, first of all, where am
I? You're at Bryce's.
I'm in Florida, yeah.
Finally, all these weeks I've been saying, are you at Bryce's? Are you at Bryce's?
Yeah.
This time
you forget to ask me, and I'm actually there, yeah. So, yeah, in Florida, in the middle of summer, I can't even begin to tell you how swampy it is.
Oh, wow. Bit humid.
Bit humid. You're sat in ball soup all day. It's not great.
Not ideal. Not ideal.
It's, I get confused.
Get talcum powder, put it down your kegs.
I'll just bake a batter. My balls will be making a cake.
God.
So we're on, what temperature we're on? 36 to 37 all week.
Oh, chuff me. That is a bit warm, isn't it?
36 to 37, and it is warm as.
Bit maftin.
Maftin is proper maftin. there's not many people know that word.
No, that's very localised.
So as far as my run's going, running in this is challenging.
I'm going to say, I bet.
It's definitely challenging. I don't like it. I don't like running in it. I'm also injured.
Are you?
Yeah.
What you done?
So that is 96 to 99 temperature in old money.
In American.
I don't know. I twisted my knee. I've hurt my knee. So the last sort of week of running has been really, really difficult.
Yeah.
My running coach says rest. And I'm thinking, I'm running in 2 weeks. There's no way I can rest now. Can't rest now after all this running. I'll lose it. It'll disappear. But I've got to listen to her. I've got to have some faith. And I've been doing some elliptical training, some walking. Walked 3 miles yesterday to keep my heart rate up.
Elliptical's one of them?
Yeah, one of them, yeah. Well, there's no impact. So you just keep going like this. It's the most boring thing in the world.
Look at that.
They're hard work, but keeps the cardio up, so that's good.
Keeps the old ticker in check.
Yeah, trying to keep fueled, liquid.
Fueled with Gatorade.
Well,
Gators.
Losing liquid here. You know what I mean? Just walking about is
Accelerated at minute, yeah.
So yeah, watching what I'm doing. I have to be careful here, and I'm here for at least a week.
So you're here for a week, and is there? I'm assuming you have to see Bryce. And is there any particular problem that you need to challenge, or?
So we're doing a seminar on Friday, which is going to be looking at wet on wet printing. Going to be looking at advanced automatic printing, wet on wet. Something that people still sort of can't do it. Must do multi-print. Need more flashes, and we're going to try and get over the point that. Actually, if we make the right decisions before we get to press, we can do up to 10 colours wet on wet. So that's what this week is aiming towards. On Friday, an open house at Merch Shops, which would be great for people to come and have a look around. And there'll be about 30 people there, so there's a lot of people coming down.
Sure, no pressure.
No, yeah. So I better do some planning really, because I tend to go into places and do a little bit of. The first casualty of any battle is usually the plan.
Yeah. I've started reading a book called The Art of War. That's very succinct.
Never. No, well, that's where that's from. The first casualty of war is the plan.
I've recognised it.
Yeah, that's the Art of War. Yeah, good book. So yeah, that is the first casualty. So I turn up to a place with a plan, and I get there and realise, like going back to the dirty screens that we had, I had a plan on how to use the squeegees, how to use the pressures, how to use the travel, how to use everything. And then I look at the screen and I'm going, right, okay, screw that. We need to concentrate the screens. Yeah. So I'm very fluid in the way I teach, explain, and show people according to what I see in front of me. Yeah. So this will be challenging for me, but
a bit more structured than you'd typically like.
A little bit more structured, yeah, which it should be structured really, but we'll have to sit down and do a lesson plan.
Yeah, this is very much like a generic style of teaching, which isn't your typical way of approaching things. You're sort of reactionary and you're judgmental at the time. Yeah, in a positive way. I don't mean you go around saying, "Oh, don't like your shoes." You know what I mean?
No, reactionary. Definitely reactionary. And I see something, I go, right, okay, we need to look at that. We need to tackle that. Because sometimes I do go to a place and think, what am I going to do here? They know what they're doing. They've done everything before. I've been before, and then I'll see something and go, right, okay, we've got to do that. Let's jump on that right now, because that's not a great thing.
Speaks volumes, though, that people are paying money to come to a less involved seminar in a way with you. Speaks volumes about you.
I think they also want to have a good nosy around merch shops as well, but that's a side thing.
Well, I don't blame them. I want to go have a nosy around merch shops, like the McLaren of the screen print world.
It is, yeah. What a shop.
So, is there any chance of a sneaky cameo with our mate Bryce?
Absolutely. Well, I'll talk him into it. He doesn't like appearing on camera, but I'll bully him into it.
Put the feelers out there.
My first day today, so I need to get a wriggle on soon and go and have my first day with him. We'll see what we've got planned. Try and make a bit of a game plan. Quite fortunate here. There are two buildings. One of the buildings has got a lot more space, so we should be all right there. It should be all in conjunction with SPSI. We're putting it all on, running the whole thing. So Steve from SPSI, he'll be here tomorrow. A few of the other guys. We've got some Rutland inks on the way. We've got some Chromaline emulsion, and we're looking for sponsors. Can you tell?
I want to get hold of. I want a shelf of Aviant specialty inks. Now, I'm not singling out anybody, but I really want some Aviant specialty inks. And
You mean the special effects stuff?
The specialty range, yeah. And do you know what? If I were to buy it,
base.
it cost me a couple of grand. I can't afford.
They used to do a little pint pot of everything.
That'd be perfect. A pint
all
pot
the
of
specials.
each.
Yeah.
Just let me play and try all of them.
They used to do one. They might still do one. Your best bet in England is Colenso.
They've gone. It's gone. I don't know if it's still. I'm sure it's still selling, but you used to go on Colenso website, add it to your basket, and buy it.
Yeah.
But now there are no prices, and so you check out, and I expect that they'll get in touch with an invoice. But I did, and I got no response whatsoever. I ordered some puff about 6 months ago.
No.
So I don't know what their crack is.
Yeah,
maybe I'll have to give them a call.
Website. Yeah, give them a bell. Just they're normally quite helpful.
Yeah, I've had stuff in past. That's a place to go if you want your will flex. I guess
it's the only place to go, unfortunately. I don't know whether
unfortunately.
I don't know how mate Tony does it or not. I don't know.
No. Tony does Total Ink.
Total Ink, yeah.
Which I can say I've used quite a few Total Ink products and I'm quite impressed by some of the stuff that I've used.
Okay.
What time are we knocking on? How are you for time?
We're looking at almost getting there now. We're looking at wrap it up.
You got one more?
Go on.
Don't know what it is yet. I'm just having a look. I've got one more on, but I feel like it could be a lengthy topic, so I might save that one. I'll save that. We've sort of tackled all your lists, to be honest. Ask Tony.
List?
What
list? What, I don't have a list. What do you mean? This is unscripted.
Cut. What about shout out to Ask Tony? Because I feel like
absolutely,
some extra
absolutely
input.
I do a column in Images magazine. Massive shout out to Images magazine. They've been really supportive of me over the last few years now, and it is basically Ask Tony, which is your chance to throw a question at me that we don't answer anywhere else, that's been bothering you, bugging you, or you can't get a real good answer from anybody else in the industry.
Get an in-depth article, usually a two-page spread.
Usually a two-page spread, yeah. I try not to waffle on with it as much as I do, but we try and keep it small and concise. But absolutely, drop either me or Images Magazine or one of our DMs on Instagram with a question that you think you've not seen the answer to, or you're not happy with the answer that you've been given, and I'll approach it. I've been doing it for a while now, and I feel like we've pretty much covered almost every subject. And if that's true, I'll probably knock it on the head and think about something else. But before I do that, I would like to know from everybody that we've actually covered all the subjects. Auntie Moira might actually be exempt.
Auntie Moira's got an exclusive contract with Chippy Tea.
Yeah. So we're leaving that one there.
Yeah,
but yeah,
get in touch. Challenge to listeners: come up with a question that Tony ain't answered.
Yeah,
for Images magazine.
For the last 3 years.
I'll be expecting me cut. Images. Are you listening, Rachel? Huh? Quick. Slip an envelope through my letterbox.
It'll be a Gildan offer.
It will be one of those bloody leaflets.
You see, unlike others, we are actually fully behind our trade magazine, and we believe, don't we, that a trade magazine is important. You know, there are two big ones.
I love it. It comes through every month.
There are two big ones in the industry. Images is been a fantastic contributor. And, you know, we think they play an important role. A lot of people at the minute are I don't like trade magazines and I don't like this. Well, get out the trade then. Because if you want to know what's happening, the only way to know what's happening is to be involved with the institution that's with it and tune into Chippy Tea.
Yeah, I just think there's too much hatred in the world. Just love each other and
absolutely
read each other's magazines and buy our merchandise and all that stuff.
Yeah. Simple.
So this has been episode 34. No, it's not been 34, is it? 54.
Go on then, 54? Off you go. You do it.
No, I'm not doing it.
You do it.
I was just,
come on, you do it.
I was just prompting you.
You do it.
Pushing you.
Come on. I want to see you do it.
Episode 54. Done, dusted, didn't bag. Sealed, signed, delivered. Probably on a Tuesday by now. Or I might go for a Wednesday episode. That'll be we'll call it a hump day. Because I feel like you get your shirt show fix on a Monday, you're probably all right. So then, when can we catch you at a good time? Maybe midweek, week starting to drag a little bit. You're thinking, do you know what? I could do a bit of podcasting back in my ear as I print these shirts. Chippy Tea, Wednesday. Thinking about it. We'll see. But anyway, this has been episode 54. We've had ever such a lovely catch up. We hope to see you again for episode 55, where we shall free, off at cuff, off at dome, random topics. We don't do any preparation pertaining to the world of screen print. Feel free to contribute. Obviously, we've just given you a whole speech about contributing to Images magazine, but also if you do want us to touch on anything, if you want my expertise, get in touch with Chippy Tea. Then we'll do our best to answer. But otherwise, thanks so much for tuning in. And we'll see you next week.
See, you're good at it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. We love to hear from you in all the boxes. Danny does monitor the YouTube stuff. I don't monitor the YouTube stuff, but he does pass everything on to me. So thank you very much for listening. All that remains to be said is,
I'll say it.
I'll say it.
All best.
Friday night, I'm within me rights. I want a Chippy Tea.